Our next storm system is starting to develop around the Aleutian Islands. You can actually see this blue line starting to dip. That is your jet stream starting to drag down some of that colder air. And further south, it's also activating an atmospheric river of moisture that's pummeling in off the Pacific, especially some heavier rains around our coastal regions into Washington and Oregon. But further south, it's really setting up a dry slot. That's known as what they call zonal flow. And that is a very dry flow and a warm flow that is coming off the Pacific that will actually be around for several days to come. You can actually see it better on the 500 millibar with that warmer wind coming in from the southwest, indicating that ridge of high pressure building in from the southwest and shifting into our central states, really elevating those temperatures while we're waiting for our Pacific storm that's starting to develop that will be diving southward in the days to come, bringing actually more snow and some heavier rains along with it in colder conditions as well. You can take a look at the overall satellite picture this morning. You can see that evident dry slot essentially set up across our central regions into much of the southeast and into the Ohio Valley. There's the southwest wind spreading in some higher clouds on the satellite picture, but further to the north, that's really the only game in town right now with our Pacific storm starting to come into play that will be entering inland in the days to come. So we are approaching the holidays, and I've got the perfect gift for you. It's the Tempest from Weatherflow. It's, if you're looking for a weather station, this is the one I highly recommend for your holiday seasons to come. And the reason why I like it, it's an all-in-one system. It's a complete 5-in-1 all solar system, and it has a convenient app you can just download, and my whole entire family has it on their phone, and they actually have a desktop version as well. And you can actually be a part of the 60,000 in the Tempest community, and it really only takes about 10 minutes to install. Once you do it, there's really little to no maintenance involved. And I do have a discount code if you are in the market. If you'd like to purchase one, you can use the code POWWeather10 for 10% off and free shipping. I'll actually have this link in the description below, so you can actually just click on it and possibly order one for yourself. So here's the next 2 days, folks. You can see that zonal flow, how dry it is across a good part of the southwest, the central states, and much of the southeast heading towards the Ohio Valley. It's just really the polar jet stream where that atmospheric river of moisture is well to the north. It's bringing in some of that Pacific air that's bringing some heavier rains across these regions, across the Pacific Northwest, across our northern and north central states, and into portions of the northern Great Lakes and into New England. But after that, we are going to be seeing the jet stream starting to dip, and you can see that jet stream pretty much flatlined on Tuesday. But as we transfer into Wednesday, I do feel it is going to be starting to take that noticeable dip and some changes to come. But before now and then, we're going to be dealing with, yes, folks, more record heat potentially unfolding with that southwest wind bringing in that warmer air and that zonal flow. We could be looking at more like 30 potential record high temperatures on that Tuesday afternoon, November the 7th timeframe. All these areas that are highlighted and circled here, that is your potential record low, could be breaking for your daily record. Southwest, southwest regions well to the 80s, even some 90s starting to show up on the map. Yeah, even further north into Tennessee could be upper 70s. That is extremely warm for this time of year. And there's the Wednesday. There's the overall jet stream that with that storm system that will be coming in from the Aleutian Islands. It will be making it inland likely sometime on Tuesday. But by the time we head into your Wednesday, it's starting to set up shop across portions of Idaho, into portions of Utah, and eventually swinging into a good part of Wyoming and into Colorado. And it's got some little bit of pocket of colder air, And we're going to be starting to change over to some snow across these regions. That'll be on the day on Wednesday, and I think it even gets more intense on Thursday. But before that, and out ahead of it, we're still going to have to deal with more record heat. So I think the potential records for the week ahead are going to be, especially on Tuesday and into your Wednesday afternoon, with widespread 80s across a good part of the South and much of the Southeast. Now we're talking those record temperatures swing as far north as into Missouri, into Kentucky, into portions of Illinois, and even portions of Indiana could be approaching 75 degrees, folks. That is definitely plenty warm up there for this time of year, but changes are going to be on the way with that trough and that short wave that will be diving southbound, in the days to come. So here's your where that low pressure could be, likely onto your Wednesday night time frame, down to a 990 millibar low pressure. I don't think this is going to be a significant snowstorm as what we saw last week across these Intermountain West regions and into Denver. But you are going to be picking up more snow, I feel, into the Denver region, especially heading into that Wednesday, going into that Thursday time frame. As that low pressure center will be starting to dive into the Rockies and overturning the atmosphere, and that's when we could start seeing more snow for those ski resorts. And a lot of that snow will start creeping into portions of, say, Denver, into the Colorado Springs region. And then further south, you'll start to have that lift with that cold front starting to approach portions of eastern New Mexico, getting into the Texas Panhandle, and eventually approaching into West Texas, even into North Texas as we go into that Wednesday night, Thursday night time frame. And you can see the sharp demarcation line where that cold front will be, with the thin line of rain, scattered storms along with it, heading into your Wednesday night, Thursday morning. And as it starts to dive southbound, there's the heavier snows will continue to take shape across the mountain regions and into Denver. And then the heavier rains, I think, will be kind of behind the front. So I think you've got, because it's more of a positively tilted trough that's going to be coming in, and that greatest lift, the greatest forcing, I think, will be after the front actually moves through. So behind the front, after you cool down, we'll have some of those overrunning type conditions with what they call an anafront down in these areas across portions of Oklahoma into North Texas. And that actually swings into the Arkansas region as we get deeper into the day on your Thursday afternoon. But here's the probability of areas that could actually see, say, more than 3 inches of snowfall from this next storm system that comes through. Again, these areas across the Intermountain West regions, but especially as you dive southbound into the Rockies, and those areas does include those areas into portions of the Denver region, could actually pick up portions of, say, 3 inches of snowfall, even down to Colorado Springs, maybe 8 inches. So again, not as probably as significant as the last snowstorm, but definitely more snow is going to be on the way, especially today, where you're talking 75 degrees in the Denver region. So yeah, we're talking big changes on the way for that region as we head into that Thursday time frame. By the time we head into Thursday, yeah, that we'll have another 3 to possibly 8 inches on the ground across those regions. So, and then as temperatures start to dive back into the 30s with that heavier snows moving back in the picture by then. But as we transfer into Friday, you can actually see where the cold front will lie. It will continue to sink southbound. And I do feel it actually starts to slow down the further south it goes. So it likely is going to be stalling somewhere in the vicinity of South Texas heading into your Friday afternoon. That will really set up some heavier rains across these regions, and some heavier rains where they desperately needed into the Louisiana area, where they're under an exceptional drought across these regions, and into Mississippi and Alabama. So these areas actually desperately need the rainfall. And I do feel you're going to get those beneficial rains as we go into that Thursday, definitely by Friday time frame across these regions, and then lighter amounts as you extend further north into the southeast and as you go up into the Carolinas. And then of course the drier air will be coming in, you know, on the backside. So going into your weekend, this will be next weekend for September, you know, going into that November the 11th time frame on your Saturday. That colder air will continue to funnel in, not like Arctic blast type stuff like we saw towards Halloween, but definitely cool down on the way. And those anomalies will be, you know, average or even slightly below average across these regions with behind that cold front. And this is where the heavier rains could be heading into next weekend, as that cold front will continue to kind of stall down here into the Gulf of Mexico, actually spreading those heavier rains across southeastern portions of Georgia, getting into South Carolina and into portions of Virginia into North Carolina by then. But yes, back behind it, again, not like significant Arctic blast extreme measures or anything like that, but we are going to be seeing, you know, from where we are, from the potential record highs that could unfold Tuesday and Wednesday, it's going to be back to more seasonal temperatures and slightly below average behind that cold front that will be coming in. So yes, a lot of these anomalies will be replaced with more average type seasonal type weather, and even a slightly below average in some of these areas. But going into your that Sunday heading into Monday time frame, we'll have that cold front continue to dive southbound. It will probably stall out somewhere in this vicinity into the Gulf of Mexico, starting to drape across those heavier rains across portions of Florida by then. You can see the high pressure starting to build back in on the backside across the Ohio Valley. More drier air moves in, but it's also a colder air, and some of these areas will be back to the freezing mark while we watch the Pacific Northwest again with yet another storm system that will be entering the picture by then on your Monday, November the 13th time frame. So that morning will be definitely on the chilly side across a good part of Minnesota, through Wisconsin, into portions of, you know, going into Michigan here, all the way down into West Virginia. All these areas in blue into the Northeast will be below freezing, if not almost a hard freeze across these regions on the backside of that higher pressure. High pressure will be sinking in on the backside of that cold front by then. But to break it down over the next 7 days where your precipitation would likely fall, most of the heavier rains is going to be really highlighted across our coastal regions of the Pacific Northwest. But still some heavier rains will be spreading further south into Northern California. Most of this will actually be in the form of snow. And then along where that cold front is, this is where there'll be the greatest forcing, and where it likely is going to stall will be the heavier amounts across South Texas into Louisiana, heading into Mississippi, where areas actually need it the most. And then lighter amounts as you spread further north into Tennessee, heading into Kentucky, through the Carolinas, and then further up the East Coast into the New England region, while Florida actually remains on the drier side. And here's your overall snow that's going to come out of that system. Again, not as significant as last week, but definitely more snow is going to be on the table for those Intermountain West regions and up to Quebec and Ontario regions, and then there towards the Rockies. And I showed you the snowfall that could unfold further east, heading into Colorado Springs and into the Denver region by then. So guys, I appreciate you watching. I do like this video. Definitely hit the subscribe button and catch the next update where I protect you before and after the storm.